One of my training flights was with a guy named Jim Larkin. And Jim Larkin is in the Idaho Aviation Hall of Fame. He flew for, Johnson out of Missoula. He flew for the Forest Service. He flew for the state of Idaho. He was kind of well known in Idaho for the guy that took years to qualify the scoopers that the state of Idaho was talking about buying. And then he told me the inside baseball on that. He said, we were having so much fun that we didn't want them to actually make the purchase. So we said it'll take another summer, of testing. Great guy. And I just had, out of the blue, Lori McNichols said, hey, Jim Larkin he needs a ride to get his airplane in Warren, Idaho. He got fogged in there. And if you'll give him a ride to his airplane, he's willing to give you a day of instruction in the Idaho backcountry. I was like, oh my God, I've won the lotto on this one. And so I pick up Jim Larkin and we're flying around the Idaho backcountry, and he's putting me through my paces. He had the mail contract for years and years before Ray Arnold had it. So he knows every single airstrip, all across the backcountry. And so I said to him at one point, Jim, where's your favorite place? And he said, Moose Creek, Idaho. And he said, you want me to take you there? And I said, yeah, I'd really like you to take me there, because it's got to be phenomenal if it's your favorite place in Idaho. So he takes me into Moose Creek, and it's like, I'm just stunned, The flying in there is, he keeps saying lower, lower. And we're going into a really narrow canyon with really, big cumulus granite on both sides. And I'm like, lower? He's like, lower. We got to get lower. And it's like, I'm just sweating bullets. And when I finally got out of the airplane, I started breathing again. It was like just this overwhelming smell of pine, and it was just like amazing. So that was in 2000 when he took me in there. And so I was already addicted. I was fully in, and I was going to Moose Creek all the time. And so I became convicted to the mission of the RAF. It's like, these places are incredible. I mean, these are places on our planet that, a very, very small percentage of people ever get to appreciate or enjoy. And I love the fact that they're preserved, but I know how tentative that preservation is, right? It really is always on the bubble of going away. And it just, it's not even from one administration to the other. It could just be for the lack of funds, they get closed and poof, it's like they're gone, They're still there, but they're inaccessible now. And so I understood all of that, and Jim made me appreciate that. And the one thing that he asked me to do, he said, I only ask you to pay me back in one way. And I said, what was that? You will take care of this place. He said, because it takes people actively, working toward taking care of these places for them to exist. And I was like, okay, Jim, you got it. I will dedicate to that commitment, to that promise. And I did. And I've been a volunteer there now for like 10 years, for 3 weeks at a time. I go in there and help maintain the ranger station and be, a caretaker and do all of that, because the Forest Service can't afford to, actually staff that place anymore. They rely on volunteers. So I've been doing that now for 10 years. And it's really, fulfilling the promise to Jim Larkin. But it's also selfish. It's the mission of the RAF is to preserve those places. And it's like, I get a lot more out of those places than I ever contribute. And it's, everybody has their favorite, and that's mine. That was Jim Larkin.